Hello there, welcome to a new session of Solidity Programming Language and Blockchain Development. In this session, we are going to talk about the inheritance. Before telling you anything about inheritance, I just want to give you a real world example related to inheritance so that it will be very clear to you that what is inheritance. Because if you know the real life example or real life based examples, then it is very clear to you that what is actually that topic is. So let's see what is the real life example. Let's assume that you are a child, and that is a obvious example that everyone knows. You are a child and these are your parents, and let's assume that your parents has car, bike, and house, and properties like plots and all. So your father and mother has lot of properties, and whatever they have, you will definitely you are having the right to access them, or you are having the right to reuse them, because they are your parents and you are the child of them. That's why you are having the right to reuse the properties or to reuse the things of your father, or to have the behavior of your father. So that's what the meaning, or whatever that you are using, or whatever things or whatever properties that you are using of your father or your parents, then that thing is known as inheritance, or the plain meaning of this thing is inheritance. Means reusing the properties of our parents or reusing anything of our parents is considered as inheritance. Means you are inheriting, or you inherits the property of your father. In contracts also, like whatever contracts that we are going to create, a contract can inherit the properties of any other class. A contract which is inheriting any other contract, that contract would be considered as the child contract, and whatever contract it is inheriting, that contract would be considered as the parent contract. And the child contract can use all the properties and the functions, or all the state variables or functions of the parent contract. So let's see what it is, and I hope it is clear to you. I hope the real world example is clear to you. Means reusing the properties or reusing the things that your father or your mother has, you can reuse them, and that thing is considered as inheritance. So this is what the basic meaning of it. Let's see what it is in context to the program. So inheritance, it is a fundamental concept in Solidity that allows one contract to inherit or reuse the properties or fields. Fields mean the state variables. The properties or fields, and behaviors means methods or functions, and behavior or functions of another contract. So that's what I had told you. A contract which has, or using inheritance, a contract can reuse the properties, a contract can reuse the state variables and functions of any other contract. It establishes a relationship between contract where one class known as derived contract derives the characteristics or behavior from another contract known as base contract. So let's assume that two contracts are there in a file A, contract A and contract B. Contract B is inheriting contract A. This is inheriting contract A. Just assume that B is inheriting contract A. Now what happens is this B can have several names related to the inheritance. Like it could be a derived contract, it could be a child contract, and it could be a subcontract. Because in inheritance, whatever contract which is inheriting any other contract, it could have these names: derived, child, or subcontract. And a contract which is inherited by any other contract, then that contract is considered as the base contract, or the parent contract, and super contract. So these are the terminology which is a Solidity programmer should know, because any terminology can be used, or these are pairs like base and derived can be used simultaneously. Base contract, derived contract. Base contract is a contract which is uh, inherited by any other contract, and derived contract is a contract which inheriting any other contract. So that is what the meaning of it. And if we talk about the parent and child, then parent and child, I hope it is clear that what I want to say with the help of parent and child contract. A child contract is a contract which is inheriting any other parent contract, or a parent contract is a contract which is inherited by any child contract. So that's what it means. So these terminologies are very important. and this is super subcontract. So these are the contracts which, or these terminology would be used with those contracts which are inherited by any contract, and these terminology will be used by those contracts which are inheriting any contract. So I hope this thing is clear to you, and now we are going to do a practical which will definitely make everything clear to you. So let's see a practical, and let's go to our solve remix id. In remix id, let's create one new contract, let's say parent contract. And remember that I have already told you in the very first session of this solid programming language that you can create any number of contracts in a single file. So we are going to create two contracts today, parent and child, and it is not necessary to create the name as parent. I am just giving the example for you. So, or let's remove this contract one. Okay, so contract one would have some function, let's say exam C1 example, or C1 function. It would be a good name. Okay, and it is public and pure because it would not be using anything, and it would return a string type of data. Returns string memory. Okay, now it would return that I am a sorry, a string memory str is equal to I am a uh, contract one function. Contract one function. Okay, and let me return it. Return str. Okay, now let me create another contract two. Or before that, let me deploy this contract one. So if we are deploying this, then we should get a single function, C1 function. But let me create another contract 2. Contract 2. In this contract 2, I want to inherit this contract 1, or I want to reuse the functions created in this contract 1. So how can I do that? So for inheriting any contract in Solidity, you can use is keyword. Is whatever contract that you want to inherit, you can use is keyword. Followed by is keyword, you can write the contract name that you want to inherit. So contract 1. So contract 1 is inherited by contract 2. So this is what you can write, and this is how you can write the syntax for inheriting any contract. Now I'm gonna write a function C2 function. In this public, it would also be public pure, which returns a string memory, and it would also return a string str is equal to I am a contract 2 function. Now uh, I will be I will be deploying this contract 2. So let's see how many functions we will see, because as I have told you that if any contract is inheriting any other contract, then it can reuse the functions or state variables of the parent contract. So let's see what we will be getting if we are uh, deploying the contract 2. So let's see. I have deployed the contract 2, and now see this. We are getting two different functions, C1 function and C2 function. Why we are getting it? But we have only created C2 function into contract 2. So why we are getting C1 function as well? Because we have inherited the contract 1. So you will definitely get the public function, all the public function of C1 function or contract 1 that you have inherited. So that's why we are getting C1 and C2, both of these functions, while we have deployed the contract 2. And even you can, if you want, then you can use this this C1 function in contract 2 as well, function like this. So if you click C1 function, then you will get this. So this is the C2 function. You can see I'm contract 2 function, I'm contract 1 function. So like this, you can implement the inherited or the functions of inheritance. It is very easy, not that much, and it is not a rocket science. It is very easy thing. And in the next session, I will tell you more important things like visibility modes or access specifiers. So all the things would be clear about the inheritance. So that's all about this session. If you are having any doubt or any problem, then you can mail me, and in the next session it would definitely be clear whatever problem that you has. Because I know that you will have a problem, or you will have some doubt that if what if this function is private, what if this function is external or internal. So all those visibility modes we are going to talk about in the next session. So don't worry about it, and try to create this example by yourself, or a different example by yourself, or create some state variables and try to use those state variables in different contract by inheriting them. So that's all about this session. Thank you.